Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 1583.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about consumer sentiment dropping sharply. And when consumer sentiment drops, it says that the consumer is not feeling confident about spending, and they may pull back on spending, especially for big ticket items, which can lead to recession. So we definitely watch this as an important indicator, especially since we're not getting all the economic data from the government due to the shutdown. So the University of Michigan released its survey on Friday, and the index of consumer sentiment posted a reading of 50.3 for the month, which indicated a decline of 6.2% on the month and about 30% from a year ago. That's enormous. October's sentiment reading was 53.6, and economists were looking for this month to be around 53. Sentiment was last this low in June of 2022 as inflation hovered around its highest level in 40 years. But what's really interesting is November's reading was the lowest going back to at least 1978. So even though we'd had recent highs in the stock market, it showed that there was concern about the ongoing impasse in Washington, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Elizabeth Renter, senior economist at consumer finance site NerdWallet, said across the economy, segments of the population are increasingly dealing with tighter financial conditions. That's certainly true for federal workers and people dependent on food assistance from the federal government, but it's also likely increasingly true for middle-income Americans. Meanwhile, inflation seems to be relatively in check, with people expecting a 5-year inflation rate of about 3.6%, down 0.3%, and an inflation rate of 4.7% a year from now. Those are projected. One interesting statistic is that people with large stock holdings actually improved their sentiment. They felt 11% better about the economy. Now, while we got some good news on a possible end to the government shutdown, we're not quite there yet. The Senate voted 60-40 on Sunday in a test vote to move towards passing legislation to fund the government until at least January 30th. The Senate will still need to hold a final vote on the spending bill, after which it will need to be considered by the House of Representatives before being signed into law by President Trump. The prospect of a possible breakthrough encouraged investors, and the market saw a sharp rebound on Monday. But meanwhile, there's disruptions happening across the country, especially in key sectors like air travel. Airlines canceled more than 1,500 U.S. flights on Monday. The fourth consecutive day cancellations have topped 1,000 as government flight cuts and air traffic staffing absences continue to wreak havoc with aviation. White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett said in an interview that the U.S. economy could contract in the fourth quarter if the shutdown dragged on. Yeah, and that's where we get into the possibility of this leading to a recession. On the bright side of that, it might mean we could get a larger Fed rate cut. The more that we see weakness in jobs, the more that could be a real possibility. Right now, traders are pricing in a 60% chance of a 0.25% interest rate cut in December. But one member of the Fed committee, Mr. Myron, is suggesting a 0.5% interest rate cut would be appropriate. From all this uncertainty, precious metals rebounded sharply, and spot gold traded 2.2% higher to $4,087 an ounce, and silver jumped over $50 an ounce once again at 50.08. Up 4% on the day. So we'll continue to monitor what's going on. If the government does open, that will help consumer sentiment. But if for some reason it drags on, there's more damage that can be done to the economy. If you haven't yet subscribed to Be Wealthy and Smart, hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified as soon as new podcasts are available. And all of my podcasts are on my website at lindapjones.com/podcasts. And while you're there, sign up for my weekly newsletter for more wealth tips for your financial freedom. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.